Alright then, we're live. Looks like we are. To everyone out there, hi. To all of you out there, all across the world, especially on the Polynesian islands, here we are, as promised. The Shadow Council episode 34 has returned with, of course, the title, as you already know. We're gonna talk about Lilo and Stitch. We tried that once, but of course, with my co-host right here, we had some like power problem and everything. So here we are going to try again. And why are you looking at me like that, TK?
Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. I'm excited.
Good. That's good. That is good. As long as you're excited, we're good. Anyway, to kind of go again, hi to all of you out there. Here I am, your host, Laura Shadows, of course, with one and only TK right here next to me. And this is, again, Shadow Council 34 episode return with Lilo and Stitch on board. Yep. And I mean, we and I talked about it in the previous episode. Like, this is like literally one of the most creative and one of the most epic, well-known Disney franchises ever since like 2002, with the original movie coming out and everything. And we mentioned it already. Like, I always kind of thought like not simply the movie, but like the character of Stitch himself being like
Yeah.
one of the most creative Disney characters in entire Disney history.
Yeah.
And one of those, yeah, like it's one of those projects, that the voice of Stitch, the name is escaping me
Oh,
right now.
Chris Sanders.
Uh, yes, like one of those projects that Chris Sanders was trying over and over and over to push it until eventually they gave him a shot, and now it became a cult-like classic.
Yeah. He had perseverance
I
for sure.
mean, absolutely, absolutely, and for that, like just for that alone, I always have my deepest respects for Chris Sanders. I really did. But of course, him voicing Stitch and still doing it,
Yeah.
it's an extra,
Yeah. And the thing
absolute extra.
the thing I thought about that is, I mean, how many directors or like producers of a movie have like the guts to actually voice the title character? I mean, that's like that's moxie, and I give him credit for that too.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Good point on that one. So basically, as we started before, now we're gonna start again. Of course, what better way to start the Lilo and Stitch discussion? Basically, is of course with the overall first pillar that kind of started this like amazing franchise, which of course is the original Lilo and Stitch 2002 movie. Now, I asked that in the previous try. What was your very first recollection you had of the original movie?
Okay. So my first recollection of the original movie, I think I started with the movie series. Or not movie series. I started with the TV series before I actually watched the actual movie. Um, and I mean, going from that back to the movie. So when you watch both of them like side by side, the quality of the movie and like the quality of animation in the movie and everything, it's far better. That was one of my first impressions. Just overall, like we said before, the creativity in the movie that really got me. That really got me hooked. Um, Stitch, I mean, of course, he's cute, which is great appeal, and I really connected with that because I mean, of course, I'm cute, so I mean, I think that's why I appeal to people.
Eh, I'll give you a five.
Yeah, I'll take a 5. That's good. But no, it really the thing that's really cool about the movie, and I think my first recollection of the movie, like my first thought about the movie, was how different it was, how unique it was. The animation, I think, it's very Disney, but I also think it kind of takes Disney up another level. Um, so I mean, it and the voice acting too in that movie was phenomenal. It was great.
Absolutely.
It was great to get the voice of Cogsworth as Jumba. Um, that was a nice touch. I mean, he's like a Disney veteran, so that kind of worked. And again, Chris Sanders having the director, the producer of the movie, voice the title character. I mean, like I said before, that's Moxie. It's maybe a little arrogance thinking that he's the only person who could voice Stitch, but it worked. It paid off, and I mean, it's one of the most iconic Disney voices and characters ever, probably.
No, I totally agree. I mean, like when it comes to the overall movie, I mean, my very first recollection. I mean, we talked about it before, but I remember seeing Lilo and Stitch in the theater, like
Mhm.
when I was like a very small kid, alongside my parents, and I could easily remember almost every scene that was in that movie the very first time I saw it, like from the opening scene with the Grand Councilwoman all the way to like towards the end, basically, with the Elvis Presley song, playing in the background,
Yeah,
kind of like, Stitch finding his home
yeah,
in Hawaii and everything. Like one of the things. Again, I hate bragging about myself, but one of the things I do have to brag about myself is that I have a really big, powerful photographic memory,
yeah,
and I'm telling you, like, it's so crazy that even though it was all the way back in 2002, and I still could remember almost every scene that was in this movie. Like it's just simply amazing. But going back, to the movie and everything, yeah, I do agree. The guy who played Cogsworth, the voice of John. Oh, and we have already our first comment from our good old fashioned, our fellow council member of FRC, Ohana, my YouTube family, sending all my love for another good stream. Actually, FRC, it's actually a repeated stream. Actually, to be kind of more precise, because the first time we tried, it got we got screwed up because of the power problem and everything. But so now we're gonna give it another shot,
yes.
and so far it's
Neither of
going
us,
good.
and neither of us are in the bath.
Oh boy, I think right now I can definitely see right now FRC preparing a shotgun. Yeah, I can see right now.
FRC probably just has
I
a
can see
notebook.
right now FRC, like, going.
FRC probably just has a notebook. He's probably just writing down
Hmm,
how to get rid of TK. Lure,
I think
lure him with
maybe he's thinking that right now.
lure him with Dragon Ball things.
Oh boy. Oh, um, indeed, I am. Oh God. Oh boy, FRC, you naughty boy, naughty boy with a shotgun instinct. Oh man. Anyway, let's just try to go down to
Yes,
our like Polynesian Earth like territory.
yes,
Yeah. So basically, like, yeah. Okay. I just do hope I'm not gonna hear another bath joke. Uh,
no,
but yeah. But anyway, like, yeah. But anyway, I will say this: that the actor who voiced Jumbo Jukiba, I mean, like, you could kind of say that he is a Disney veteran. I mean,
yeah,
like, he not only he did Jumba or Cogsworth, he also, like, he did Governor Ratcliffe in
oh,
Pocahontas
yeah,
as
yeah,
well. So yeah, so I do agree. He is kind of like a overall veteran when it comes to, like, Disney anime movies. Almost like, for example, Ratzenberg was for Pixar
yeah,
movies,
yeah,
and Alan Tudyk, and what Alan Tudyk is right now for Disney.
yeah,
Kind of like, almost kind of like, similar vibe.
Yeah.
Uh, so my question to you is this: when it comes to like the original Lilo and Stitch movie, who was your okay? I'll make it a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Putting Lilo and Stitch aside, who was your who was like your favorite voice performance?
Voice performance. I would definitely say. I would definitely say. I would definitely say probably Jumba. Pleakley too. Um, because the guy who played him. Um,
Yeah,
the guy who played him was one of the new kids in the hall. I think. Um,
yeah, that's true.
so,
I
but
think it
those
was. Yeah, I'm not sure.
but those two voices together, they were they had great chemistry, so I liked them. Um, I think those are my two like favorite vocal performances. Really. I'm trying to think. Gantu was good. Um, he was a little bit stereotypical of like the bad guy, like the deep booming voice and everything, but he was good. Um, but I think my favorites were Jumbo and Pleakley.
I'm actually gonna be on the same boat as you because, like, besides like Stitch and Lilo, like, I will agree that my favorite voiceover performances in the movie were Jumba and Pleakley. And not just simply their overall voice performances, but like even them as characters themselves. Like, I really loved their overall personalities, their relationship, the kind of like the team up they had throughout the entire movie. It kind of made me. It kind of in my own kind of twisted way, it kind of made me see like evil versions of like Abbott and Costello or like Laura and Hardy, basically. That's kind of like the overall vibe I had every time when I would see Jumbo and Plickly together. Kind of like, yeah, kind of like have this kind of like evil boss in the same time, funny comedic like team up overall. I mean, that's at least how I saw it almost every single time when I watched this movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
Again, it's a little bit twisted, but that's kind of like my overall. Like, how can I put this? You do, you can.
You know, I can see that. I mean, it makes sense.
All right, is everything all right now?
Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. Looks like my connection froze a little bit. Sorry, guys, my bad, my bad. But yeah, I mean, like, in a twisted way, like I said, I always kind of saw Jumbo and Pleakley as kind of like this like Abbott and Costello type of characters or a Lauren Hardy. But
Mhm.
like I said, in a more twisted maniacal way. So
Yeah.
my next question to you is this: what would be, let's say, your in general like favorite moment in from the movie?
Well, I don't know. It's a tie. I like Stitch's like this is my family thing. Um, but I think my favorite is when Jumba and Pleakley fight over the wig. Um,
Hmm.
that is so funny. Um, you kind of
Sure.
yeah, I love that part so much. Um, I think that part in Stitch's speech at the end are my favorite. But if I had to pick one, I think fighting over the wig. Yeah, I think fighting over the wig.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. For me, it was. It, Okay, okay, fair enough. For me, I would say it would be a split between the whole, speech like, "This is my family. I found it all on my own. It's spoiled, broken, but still good. Yeah, still good." Like that moment, it's also split between. But for you, it's the wig. For me,
Yeah.
I would say it's a split between that moment and the. Let me think. Oh yeah, the overall Hawaiian roller coaster ride sequence.
Oh, okay,
That's kind of like I'm split between those two moments.
okay. Those are good ones. The Hawaiian the
Yeah, because
Hawaiian roller coaster ride. Try to say that 5 times fast. Um, I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
yeah, yeah, because like because one of the things I did always say is that Lilo and Stitch throughout the entire movie, Lilo and Stitch, they have so many great moments and scenes. In the entire movie, so it's kind of a little bit difficult to choose, like
I'm gonna
which ones are good, which ones. Go ahead.
I'm gonna steal one from you from last week. That was really good. That I
Go
remember
ahead.
that you really liked the mosquito scene.
Oh yeah, yeah. That actually, my next question, like which one it was like the most funniest scene. The mosquito scene is definitely
Yeah.
the for me the funniest.
For me, it's a tie between.
Absolutely.
For me, it's a three-way tie between that, the wig, and when he takes Lilo on the bike, and like he gets to like the edge of it, and she's like, "How great is it to be on an island surrounded by water?" Uh,
Yeah, and not like yeah, surrounded by water, and not like being surrounded by big cities and everything. Like
yeah,
oh man, like the way how Stitch almost had like a seizure, like realizing that he's on an island. That was pure comedy perfection.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
I
man.
think those are the top three funny moments of that movie.
I agree. I definitely agree. Which now with the kind of comedic thing, which we kind of already gave our answers. So my question to you is this now: which from the original movie, which was like your funniest? No, sorry, emotional moment.
Probably Stitch's speech at the end. Yeah, that would probably be it.
For me, again, again, that's because that's one of the reasons because like Lilo and Stitch has so many great scenes in this movie in the first movie, so it's really hard to choose. But for me, again, it's a tie between that speech in the end, like you
Mhm.
said, and the time and the entire sequence when Stitch went, "I'm lost," when he had the ugly duckling.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, when he had the ugly ducklings fairy tale with him and everything, and especially like all the way when Jumba came to him and he's like, you don't have one, I made you. Like that entire sequence connecting with the one when he left Lilo and screamed them lost for the first time. That entire moment for me, I was like, oh man, I felt so emotional. But I will say this: after seeing Lilo and Stitch 2 with the first electrical like experiment
hmm
alongside Lilo and Stitch the series, I have to tell you, when I rewatched that scene in from the movie, it hits a different way because like you kind of have this realization that oh like oh don't worry Stitch, your family is coming. Like do you understand what I mean?
yeah.
It really hits differently after after seeing like all the like I said Lilo and Stitch 2 and the series. It really hit differently, like emotional, but at the same time, like, don't worry, Stitch, your family's coming. Like, it's really crazy. It's really crazy. So my next question to you is this: which scene from the original movie is the scene that you hate?
I don't know if there's any scene I really hate in the movie. I mean, I feel like everything in the movie really works. It really hits like well. I don't know if there's any scene I really hate in the movie. Um,
Act, uh, Go ahead.
no,
Think a bit. Think a little bit.
no, I don't know if there's any scene I really hate in the movie. Honestly,
Fair enough. For me personally, there is one. I mean, I would say this: it's a scene that usually it's a type of scene that I always hated in either it's animation or live action or like in general. I know it's a type of scene because it kind of describes those characters for who they are. But for me, the most hateful scene, or I should say, even moment, is basically when that little four-eyed brat says to
oh
Myrtle when she says to Stitch and Lilo like that is the ugliest dog I've ever seen, and then basically you hear the girls going yeah, like that scene irritates me so much because in my younger days I knew girls like that, and
yeah,
it
okay,
always irritated me.
that's fair. That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one to hate.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically I was you can maybe even call like a stereotype basically like when you have like the like a famous girl and you have like her posse following her around like almost everywhere. But and again, I said before, it works because like the type of characters Myrtle and her friends are and everything. But if I have to choose, I would say that is my most hateful scene. No, hateful, like the most hated scene for me in the movie.
yeah, I would agree with that one. I think.
Now that's not actually a scene. It's more like now this question is gonna be more like a story element. Basically, I'm gonna ask you. So, which story element you find it the most interesting or the most favorite or beautiful in the movie?
I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know if I have a specific element or not. I mean, I think they everything in it really worked, and it was. I guess one of the things I found like the coolest about the movie itself, like one of the coolest elements, was probably the animation. Honestly, because it was really different. It really felt kind of like clean. Um, and I liked it. Also, the fact it was set in Hawaii. That was really cool. Um,
Mm,
and also the fact that he used. I didn't think about this. I didn't say this last week. The other thing that was interesting thinking about it is how it used Elvis music like really, really heavily. You don't really see too much of that in an animated movie. Um, and that also is kind of interesting, especially because like
true.
you'd never think that like using Elvis Presley music in an animated movie would be a good idea. I mean, because he's the king. I mean, you don't redo his songs, let alone use them. And the fact that they used
Naturally.
them and it fit, um, that was really interesting. That was really kind of cool too.
Oh yeah, absolutely agree. And I will follow you on that one. That one of the most favorite, even for me, elements from the movie was definitely the Elvis Presley music. I mean this. I mean I knew Elvis even though I was little. I heard a little bit of Elvis Presley, especially through my father. But this movie, and that's why it's one of the reasons why Lilo and Stitch for me it's like very close to my heart because it made me fall in love in two things. Made me fall in love with Elvis Presley's music, and he also made me fall in love for Hawaii as like a place. Like that's why this movie always had a great special place in my heart. So definitely the Elvis music is definitely one of my favorite elements in the movie. But also I really liked two things. Like one, Chris Sanders and the crew's like kind of like a sci-fi twisted version of Ugly Duckling story, but also in the same time the overall exploration of what it means Ohana, basically. Or should I say the meaning behind Ohana? And those are kind of like the elements for me that kind of I always loved about Lilo and Stitch like the most.
Hmm.
especially the overall relationship between Lilo and Nani. Like those two sisters like butt heading, basically almost head butting like the whole time, but
Yeah,
also you feel the love they have for each other.
yeah,
I mean, you mentioned that before, like the very first time we tried to do this episode. You mentioned that that in the live action version, we like this element of like sisterhood basically was explored
yeah,
a little bit more.
yeah,
You know, which I will absolutely agree. But I still always believe that even in the anime version, like he still hold like this like powerful message where not like I said, between family and sisterhood in this case, or
yeah,
just simply siblings in general.
yeah. The animated version. I'm going to be honest.
Hmm.
Nani always
Absolutely.
felt a lot more like her mom to me in the animated version. Even in the series, she's a lot more. She gave me more mom vibes. Um, the live action one, she gave me a lot more sister vibes. Um, yeah, but I mean, I I I, I really did. I'll
I
agree with.
mean,
I like the idea of Ohana.
go ahead.
Um, I like that idea of Ohana. That was a cool idea too. Um, and I know we'll get into this later, but they kind of changed the idea of Ohana around a little bit in the live action movie, which it got some flack from. Which I disagree with the flack that it got on that. But we'll get into that later.
That's true. Me as well. Yeah, yeah. But those two last things you said, I do agree. They kind of, changed some things when it comes to Ohana.
Yeah,
But I do agree. It didn't ruin it for me as
yeah,
well. But the kind of thing is like you said that in the anime version, Nani was more of a mother
yeah,
to Lilo instead of a sister.
yeah.
But the thing is, but the reality is that sometimes when you have like an older sister and a younger sister, or an older brother and a younger brother, usually those older siblings, they usually act as like parents towards
That's
their younger siblings. That's
true.
oh, excuse me,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of again I can see your point. But in the same time, like I said, when you have older and younger siblings, usually older siblings, they have this like and we're back.
There we
Can
go.
you see me?
Yeah, yes,
Okay, good. Okay, good. So can you see me?
yes,
Can you see me?
yes,
Okay, good. So I was trying to say, so basically to kind of cut this like comment short, is that it's not that far off as what usually like older and younger siblings act, especially when you have siblings who like live on their own, like without parents. It doesn't have to be like when they passed away or something, but even like you can have that like even in moments where, for example, the parents go to work, or they go on a vacation or something, and so again, I can see your point, but also at the same time, it's not that different from like real life. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, so okay, so what I forgot kind of mention you. I forgot kind of mention this like a little bit at the beginning, but what was your like? Even though we're talking about the original movie, like, but what was like your very first Lilo and Stitch experience you ever had?
I think it
Like
was.
mine, for me, was the movie.
I think mine was the series. Mine was either the series or Stitch the movie.
Hello, Caroline. Nice for you to join in.
Yeah, I think mine was either. I'm trying to think for. Yeah, mine was either Stitch the series or Lilo and Stitch the series or Stitch the movie.
Okay, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Because like for me, like I said, for me it was like straight on like the original movie, and then everything followed afterwards.
Now, are we counting
Yeah,
any?
but
Are we counting any of the Stitch stuff on Disney Plus after Lilo and Stitch the series and after Leroy and Stitch?
well, I mean, if you
Where
look at close, like I
where
mean, look. Oh, sorry. Please continue.
where Ben Dickinson voiced Stitch?
Okay, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later, if that's
Okay,
okay with you.
okay,
Okay, yeah, because the last thing we have to talk about now, I mentioned before, like Lilo and Stitch to be like one of the most creative and most like imaginative and unique at the same time. Not just simply anime movie, but like as a franchise in general, which. For me personally, when it comes to creativity, it always ranked to two other very underrated Disney anime movies. They could have had like a franchise in front of them, but they failed. And I know there's gonna be some people that they don't agree with me, but I will put them on the same level as Atlantis: The Lost Empire and Treasure Planet, because those two movies for me, just like Lilo and Stitch, were like really really creative. So I always kind of put Lilo and Stitch on that rank with those two movies. I mean, I don't know how you felt with those two movies, but for me personally, they always were not simply a guilty pleasure, but also one of my most favorite, like top 10 Disney anime movies of all time.
yeah, I'd agree with that. I think.
Absolutely. Now, with the original movie, being said and everything, although I will say this, I actually did joke about it in the first try. Every time when you see Cobra Bubbles like leaving the house, and Lilo is like Nani is like angrily looking at Lilo, and
Yeah,
every time when I see that, I just simply go run. Every time, it's like I'm telling Lilo run. Also, can I just say one thing? Why the hell did they change the whole dryer thing?
yeah,
That was, I mean, I have the original with the dryer. I still have it, but it's so stupid. I mean, so stupid. Like, why? Like, oh, like, so the children were not going to the dryers. Children are not stupid. They will know the difference between a pizza box and a dryer.
yeah.
And even when they try to edit out the whole dryer thing, you can in the movie you can still hear the door of the dryer closing.
Yes. Yeah, they didn't.
So it's
They did not cut that out well.
no, that was really stupid what they did. But I will say proudly I still have the original dryer scene. I mean, wait, I mean, right? Was it the dryer?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it
yeah,
was. Also, I mean, like, yeah, and also I had to discuss a little bit about deleted scenes. Like, you and I already talked about this, but like almost every single movie, of course, you're gonna have deleted scenes. But the ones that Lilo and Stitch had, oh my god, like there were some of them were like twisted, and some of them were like dark. Like for example, remember when we talked about the whole ambush of Lilo's house,
yeah,
like difference between the original scene and what it is now.
yeah.
Man, yeah, I mean, man, that they've changed so much,
Well, and they came back
so
and used.
much. I mean,
And they came back
the
and used
one,
that. They came back and used that in the live action. Then.
yeah, I mean, we talked about it, and that is absolutely true because when I saw that scene in live action, I was like, did Chris Sanders and the crew kind of like took inspirations from the original scene? Because it felt more like the original scene than the ones that we had later on.
Yeah, well, and it
You
kind of
know?
worked in the live action. My issue with it in the animation is, I mean, it works in the anime. It could have worked in the animation, but it, Jumbo would not have been able to be redeemed as easily if he had destroyed the house.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, because like first and foremost, like one of the little changes they did was like in the original scene, Jumbo was holding that plasma cannon gun or whatever. Like he was holding it in his hand the whole time. But there are a few scenes in the after they edited and everything. There are a few scenes where you can actually see Jumbo holding his hand like a little bit weirdly, like he was holding something. You can see it, like especially when he was throwing the car at him. You can see in a few seconds that like the hand of Jumbo felt like he was holding something. And also it was kind of stupid like why they changed the whole Swiss knife thing,
Yeah.
instead of like having like axes and maces and knives with like toothpaste and a comb and all that. Like that was a little bit stupid, but I mean, why would you change that? Because like you kind of make I mean, you kind of think like okay, Jumbo was like this evil genius, so he was like being creative in this like fast period of time.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, that's one thing they could have kept, honestly. And also, uh, you told me you watched the original scene, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Eh. So okay, the whole chain. Okay, so the whole chainsaw chase thing. Okay, I kind of get the idea, like why they changed it. But I still like that moment when basically Plickly grabbed Lilo and he's like, "You're insane! You're absolutely insane!" And Jumbo's like, "What do you know?" Like, I still for me it felt funny. And also kind of showed how unhinged Jumbo was and everything. And also at the same time, how that he was a worthy opponent for Stitch. So I really would have wished if they kept that. But I will agree that Stitch holding Lilo as a shield, and then
Hmm.
later on, kind of like in a very twisted way, releasing the gas from the oven and everything. Like that was a little bit too much. But like I get something. At the same time, I understand why they did it, but at the same time, they could have kept something a little bit more out of it.
Yeah.
But I think like out of all the deleted scenes, I think that I feel like out of all of the deleted scenes, I feel like the most darkest one I've seen, and I'm really happy they cut it out. Was the whole Pudge the fish thing? Remember?
Yeah. Yeah. That would have been twisted.
Do you remember the whole Pudge the
Yeah.
fish deleted scene that I
Yeah.
told you?
Yeah. That would have been really, really dark if they'd gone there.
Yeah, that would have been twisted. Like the yeah, like
Yeah.
absolutely, because like like finding Pudge the fish dead, and then like you have Stitch like kind of laughing at it and everything, and then try to make him like a decent burial and everything, and then you realize that the burial was close to the graves of their parents.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been too much, absolutely too much. Yeah, and even though and the whole plane thing, I mean, it looked cool. The original scene, I mean, it kind of looked cool, but I kind of get the idea, like the whole 9/11 thing. So I kind of get the idea why they changed it. And actually, for me personally, it actually worked way more better with their spaceship instead of like stealing an actual airplane.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I agree.
mean, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
But that particular chase scene.
I agree. I think it probably was better how they had it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it could have worked the other way, but I think like you said,
Absolutely.
I think like you said, 9/11 and everything. I think that's probably why they changed it.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so that too. Absolutely. Which kind of with the original movie kind of brings me to this to the other Lilo and Stitch movies. Now you told me that the very first movie you've seen wasn't actually the 2002 original movie, but it was actually one of the sequels, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it was Stitch. I don't think it was Lilo and Stitch 2. I think it was. I don't think it was Stitch as a glitch. I think it was Stitch, the one that leads into the TV show.
Mm.
And I like.
Oh, so you was Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
and I liked it. I thought it was good. I kind of, I guess my thing with it was is that it's good as a lead-in. I think to the TV show, in that respect, it's good. It does good setting like up the premise. Um, it didn't have to be a movie. It was more of a, at least for me, it was more of a like really long episode. It didn't really have to be a movie. So I guess that would be my complaint with it.
Yeah, I mean, like for me personally, look, uh, all the Lilo and Stitch movies, they were fine, absolutely fine. But if I have to choose, like, for me personally, the worst and the best one, for me personally, the best one will always be the overall franchise finale, Leroy and Stitch,
Hmm.
because that really felt like an actual, like, franchise finale, especially in this case for Lilo and Stitch. It really felt like a grand finale. The Lilo and Stitch 2 movie that kind of leads towards Lilo and Stitch the series, that movie for me kind of felt like a special episode,
Yeah,
basically, like one of those special episodes that basically lasts like 40 to 45 minutes,
yeah,
basically. I mean, I get the idea, like, we got introduction to Dr. Jacques von Hamsterville, or should I say, Dr. Rupert Jacques von Hamsterville. Also Captain Ganto being revealed that he works for him, and also in the same time we got the revelation of these other experiments being around. So again, I get the idea, but for me personally, it felt more like a special episode. Stitch and Stitch had a glitch. Like those two movies for me personally, they were unnecessary
yeah. Stitch has a
for me
glitch.
personally. Because
Stitch has a glitch,
go
so
ahead.
that had some funny moments. I like whatever Lilo's dance instructor comes over, and like Nani's trying to keep jumping completely in the kitchen. Jumba's like, "Let's go meet him." Um, that's one of the funniest moments in that movie. I mean, but my issue with that movie is like you said, it's unnecessary. It first of all, it Lilo has a different voice in the movie, which that doesn't really bother me
Yeah,
that much. I mean, you can kind of hear the difference, but that doesn't really bother me because the rest of the cast is the same. But what bothers me about Stitch as a glitch is it comes out after Stitch the movie, and it comes out like while the series is ongoing, but it doesn't address anything like any of the cousins, Gantu, any of that stuff. So that is kind of I've always thought that was weird. Um, and then the other thing is that like how it gets resolved, like that Lilo's love fixes the glitch. I don't really. I mean, that's touching and heartwarming, but it also doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Um, so I mean, that movie is fine. I mean, it's Stitch.
no,
I mean, Stitch is funny, but I mean, it's like you said, it's unnecessary. I mean, they could have easily just skipped it. Um, and it doesn't really affect like if you watch all the Lilo and Stitch stuff and like leave out Stitch as a glitch, you don't really miss anything like major. So
exactly. I absolutely agree with what you just said, because first and foremost, like you and I talked about this, like Stitch had a glitch, especially because Stitch, I didn't actually mind that much because, but still, just like the Lilo and Stitch 2 movie, felt more like a special episode for me personally. But Stitch had a glitch for me personally, even though he had some moments, some emotional moments as well, especially like the whole, like, Stitch died of this
yeah,
glitch and everything, and then come back because of this love. That was a touchy moment. That was a touching moment, emotional moment. I will give him that. But at the same time, I cannot lie and say it was a perfect scene, because like it was beautiful, it was emotional a bit, but at the same time, for me personally, story wise, it was stupid.
yeah,
Because like yeah, you feel like, oh, he died, like, oh my god, yeah, oh, like, and then like the beautiful music in the background, like, again, very beautiful scene. but
Yeah.
story wise, it was stupid, and like him go bring himself back to life, so to speak, or should I say resurrect himself, like like some sort of like 626 Jesus,
Yeah.
like he resurrect himself back to life because of Lilo's love. I was like, really? Of all the
Yeah.
excuses you could do, you went with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, and
And it was a
all,
little
yeah, and also the
predictable
same.
too.
Exactly, it was predictable, but also in the same time, the reason why he got the glitch, again, stupid, because like literally, because you and I talked about it. There was no
Mhm.
there was no Hamsterville, there was
Yeah.
no experiments, like none of it. If they tried to combine all of that in this movie, and also at the same time, let's just say, after a fight between Gantu and Stitch, after being ordered by Jacques from Hamsterville, let's just say that Hamsterville gave him like a new weapon to use against Stitch, and through that weapon, if he got like he was hit and then basically kind of slowly started having these glitches,
Hmm.
then I'll be like, okay, okay, you have a reason why he has those glitches and everything. Like, okay, fair enough. But with the reason they gave us, I was like, or like, oh yeah, like he's having glitches because like he turned from bad to good. I'm like, come on, like you could have give us a better excuse than that.
Yeah.
you know so for me personally, I mean, don't get me wrong, from time to time I would watch it. Stitch had a glitch, but for me personally, like I would say, if I had to choose between other movies, Lilo and Stitch 2 and Leroy and Stitch are far more superior movies than Stitch had a
Yeah.
glitch.
Well, Leroy
And
and Stitch, I think that it's a tie between that and the original for me because
yes,
yeah, because Leroy and Stitch is, I think it's a great finale. I think it hits all the notes. I think it ties up all the things it needs to tie up. I don't think they could have done anything better with it. Um, I mean, it was just there's nothing I could really say that was wrong with it. There's nothing that was really weak with it. Um, it was good on every level, really.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you, especially in that stadium, like final battle scene.
Yeah,
It kind of felt like some almost like an Avengers Assemble
yeah,
moment, where basically you have Hamsterville and his like army of Leroys, and you have at the other side you have Stitch with Jumba, Pleakley, Gantu, and the other experiments. Like basically finally, Stitch has his own Ohana, basically, with all these experiments, or as Stitch would call them, cousins. You know, it was beautiful, but after all this buildup, I would say this: it was worth it.
yeah,
It was that battle was worth it. And I will agree, when Captain Gantu was pardoned and got back to the, was it Galactic Alliance?
yeah. I think that's what it was.
I think it was like either Galactic Federation or Galactic Alliance, something like that. After he got his rank back and also making experiment 625,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, 625, make him his own personal. Was it like second in command or like cook
yeah. Ruben.
Ruben or something? But the point is that was kind of predictable
Yeah,
in a way, but still, it was predictable. But for me personally, it still felt earned
yeah.
in a
It
way.
like both of those things. I mean, it I think that having like the main villain and his sidekick like get redeemed is like you know that's a classic thing to do in a finale. I think that so I mean yeah it's predictable, but I agree with you. I mean I think it felt earned. Um, especially Ruben. Um, I think like the whole series you could kind of tell that he was going to eventually be redeemed. Because he was never really. I mean he was always kind of like reluctant with Gantu. I mean he always helped Gantu. He always was like on Gantu's side, but I mean, he was always more reluctant.
I
So,
mean,
it kind of that was probably more predictable than Gantu turning good.
mm,
Although that, I mean, that's something you could easily write too. But I agree with you. I think they both really felt earned too.
yeah, I mean, look, 625 or Ruben, basically, or as I like to call him, the sandwich making experiment,
Yes.
or the sandwich guy, basically. Like he was never actually technically a villain. Like he was more of a he was, as an experiment, I would say, as a character, he was more like this like douchey or jerk like character who makes sandwiches.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I will tell you this: if he was a real character, if he was a real thing, I'm telling you, like he would have one of the most successful sandwich chains in the entire world.
Yeah.
Because like especially in Lilo and Stitch the series, he made so many great sandwiches. I was like, man, I wish he was here,
Yeah.
because some of those sandwiches look good, absolutely good. I mean, I don't know if you're a sandwich guy.
Yeah. I mean, I eat some sandwiches. Yeah, I would eat some of those sandwiches.
I mean, like one of my favorite lines. It's from Lilo and Stitch the series, which is coming on very soon. But uh, one of my favorite lines from 6 to 5 was always like when Ganto asked him, like, "Can you make something else than sandwiches?" And he's like, "Sure, I can make panini."
Yeah.
What's that? And he's like, "Sure, I can make panini." And he's like, "What's that?" It's Italian for sandwich. Oh my god! Again, some people, like some of my friends, when they heard that, they were like, "Meh," it was fine. But for me personally, it's a hilarious moment. It's a hilarious moment. Like sure, I can make panini. I think like one of the reasons how this joke works, if you know a little bit of Italian, I
Yes.
think like that joke only then works a little bit better.
Yes.
You know, but it's still a very cool, one of my favorite 6 to 5 moments. It was absolutely fantastic. Which, by the way, is like my last question when it comes to like Lilo and Stitch movies. Uh, like besides the first one, how would you rank all the other movies? Like from like let's just say from worst to best, like outside the first movie.
Hmm. How would I rank them? I'd probably put Lilo and Stitch number one, Leroy and Stitch number two, Stitch the movie number three, and probably Stitch as a Glitch number four.
So okay, so for me,
Oh well, yeah, no, that would be my order.
okay, so for me, since you connected the original movie, so I will do that as well. So for me, number one, it's Lilo and Stitch all the way. Then I'm gonna go with Leroy and Stitch, just like you. Leroy and Stitch. Then I'm gonna go with Lilo. I call this movie Lilo and Stitch Two, basically.
Hmm.
Then Stitch, and then Stitch had a glitch. So basically, Stitch had a glitch. Like, is my like the worst one of all the other Stitch movies. Because again,
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
I mean, again, Stitch had a glitch had some moments, but story wise, I don't know. Like it felt like those writers, they had no idea what they're doing.
yeah, yeah. I would probably agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, and with that being said, I'm now we're going to one of my most favorite parts of this talk, and of course, I'm talking about Lilo and Stitch the series,
Yes,
which is not only one of my which is not only one of my favorite Disney anime movies I grew up watching, but it's also one of my guilty pleasures that sometimes I will binge like all 2 seasons and rewatch them like over and over again because they're so cool. I mean, basically the whole plot, of the entire Lilo and Stitch series, and we can both agree on that. Basically, the entire plot of Lilo and Stitch the series is basically you have Lilo and Stitch hunting down the experiments.
yes,
That's basically it. But even still, and it's like one of those TV shows that every single episode, it's like a different story.
Yes.
but it's still like on their own. I feel like almost every single episode, I feel like it's still on their own. They're like, for me personally, great storytelling.
Yes.
I mean, and even though, like I said, each episode has their own story, you can kind of feel like throughout the as the series progressed, you kind of feel like there's some things that are connected.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, especially like with all the cousins, like being together, like kind of like seeing like which ones they were turned from bad to good and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, but so I want to ask you this, like Lilo and Stitch, the series, like in general, like what are your overall thoughts about the show?
Um, I really liked it. It was really cool. I like how they did like different like crossover episodes with other Disney shows. Um,
Yes,
that was
yes,
really cool to watch. And the crossovers, they didn't really feel like none of them really felt like out of place. They all kind of worked. Um, I also liked the continuity between the movies and the TV show for the most part.
yes.
Leaving out Stitch as a glitch because that really had no continuity whatsoever. Um,
No,
so, but aside from that one, I thought it had great continuity. I think the voice cast was mostly the same. I think Cobra Bubbles was the only one who was different.
wait,
From
wasn't the same guy?
no, so I think that Kevin Michael Richardson, who voiced Gantu, took over Cobra Bubbles. I think Ving Rhames voiced him in the original.
Yeah, yeah, he did in
Um,
the movie. He did.
but that's an insignificant. I mean, that's really an insignificant. Like that's like such a small, like such a. He's not an insignificant character, but like he's not a big enough character that like changing the voice was really like a deal breaker. Um,
True.
and aside from that, I mean, all the other voices were the same. Um, so I mean, it the continuity was great. It was great too that they like in the original movie they featured Hawaii, and that was like
Yeah.
the main like setting. Um, the TV show they had Elvis stuff, they had emphasis on Elvis, but I feel like it was less than the movies, or less than the movie. But I mean, overall, the TV show, I mean, was I liked it. I think my only real complaint with it would be watching it and watching the movies. The animation style is a little bit different. It's the quality is not as high as the movies, but I mean, it was a TV show, so that kind of makes sense. Yeah,
Actually, I will say this. In Lilo and Stitch, the series, Cobra Bubbles was actually voiced by Ving Rhames, like in one episode.
really.
Yeah, it was the episode where you had that shape shifting experiment that
Oh,
basically goes up, where that basically uses other people's greatest fears.
yes, 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 yes,
Yeah, when basically he transformed into Cobra Bubbles and like pretended like I came to take Leo away. Like
yes,
that was the only episode I think like Wing Rhymes actually voiced Cobra Bubbles.
yes, yes.
And after that, and after that, I do agree with you. You were right. Like after that, Kevin Michael Richardson took over.
Yeah,
Mm. I mean, it was still cool. It was still cool. Even just in this like one episode, it was still cool. They got Wing Rhymes to voice him again, or should I say, a version of it. But so my question to you is we talked about a little bit about the crossovers like a minute ago. But I will say this: when it comes to the crossovers, I think like we had Kim Possible, Recess, the Proud Family, um the what was it called? Kung Fu Dragon.
Oh, American Dragon, Jake Long. Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
also had that one as well. But I will say this: my favorite crossover out of all of them, my favorite will always be Kim Possible
yep, yep. That
because it
my favorite too.
because oh man, I'm so happy we're on the same boat here because like I really love the idea that Draken and Hamsterville work together
Yeah,
because I'll be honest, as teammates, they'll be perfect for each other
yes,
because like that level of like you're insignificant, you idiot, I hate failures, la la. Like they will like they almost share almost very similar like types of their personality is very similar. So I think like they would work awesome together. So that was great. And also, like when it comes to Kim Possible, you can also see that in this particular crossover, they were trying to go from like traditional Kim Possible style towards Lilo and Stitch style of animation.
Yeah.
Like, because like you can see there were like few differences in
Yeah.
animation. But I will say this: out of all of them, I think like the weirdest for me, and again, I liked all the crossovers. I really loved all of them. But for me, that felt kind of weird was the Recess one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Give me one sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Give me one sec.
No. Yeah, no problem at all. And ladies and gentlemen, a word from our sponsor. Are you tired? Are you tired of seeing so many smart people around you? Do you want them to feel dumb? Well, come on down to Dr. Jumbo Jukiba's experiment store. We have the right experiment for you. Yeah, spiky, not very comfortable to hug, but one single spine can turn the most intelligent person into a big dummy. So, if you feel depressed having other people smarter than you around you, then come on down to Dr. Jumbo Jakiba's store. We're gonna have the right experiment for you. Here ends the commercial. Anyway, so basically, I was saying like, again, all the crossovers for me, you know, I still love them, but I always thought the Recess one was the weirdest
Yeah.
because like oh man, oh we have another comment. Let's see. Oh, the evil spiny sea urchin. Yeah, if you're talking about the experiment that makes that makes other people go dumb, yeah, that's the one I meant. That's the one I meant. I don't. It wasn't Spikes. He was called something else. Uh, I'm talking about the experiment that it looks like a hedgehog and basically his
Yeah.
spines turn people dumb.
Yeah.
I can't recall. It wasn't Spike. Lilo called him something else. I don't remember. But either way, like again, because like the thing is, Lilo and Stitch is pure fiction.
Hmm.
Like going more towards like science fiction.
Yeah.
And Recess, even though being a Disney animated TV show, it's like one of the most grounded Disney
Yeah.
animated properties.
Yeah.
So combining Recess and Lilo and Stitch,
No,
because
that didn't really make a lot of sense.
exactly because like like it's like they were trying to cross over two different styles, like
Yeah.
two different genres, so it, it felt weird. Again, Proud Family, the dragon I always forget that
Oh,
cartoon.
American Dragon Jake Long. Yeah. That
Yeah.
one. That one made sense.
Yeah, even the Proud Family made sense a
Yeah.
little bit, but of course out of all of them, Kim Possible made the biggest sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That made the
you
most
know
sense. That was the funniest. Um. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely the funniest, and I love the idea of like instead of like having Gantu, Hamsterville decided to contact another human,
Yeah.
which in this case is Doctor Dragon and Shigo, to capture like some experiments, which I thought it was perfect,
Yeah.
absolute perfect. Now I wanna know, do you have any like favorite episodes of Lilo and Stitch the series?
I think probably the crossover with Kim Possible is my favorite.
Hmm.
Now, I'll tell you what I would pay money for them to do. I would love for them to revive Lilo and Stitch just to cross it over with Phineas and Ferb.
Oh man,
'Cause-
but it would definitely have to be Lilo and Stitch animation.
yeah, but I'd love to see that because that would be Doof and Hamsterville working together. That would be so good.
Another perfect partnership. Perfect. Because that scientist and Draken, like I said, they're so similar to Hamsterville.
Yeah,
Perfect. It'll be perfect. And I would love to see that creature from Phineas and Ferb. What's his name?
Oh, Perry.
Yeah, I would love to see him work with Stitch.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. Absolutely.
That's the cross.
Uh,
That's the crossover that we all want. I mean, that would be so great.
Also, can I be going back to the recess thing? Can I be also okay? Usually, I don't like to talk about like this kind of stuff, but how the hell did recess's school afford to go to Hawaii?
Yeah, that's a good question too.
I mean, look, in fiction, anything is possible, you know. But I'm just wondering, with the type of school that DJ and his
Yeah.
gang basically went. First and foremost, uh, how come that they went there without their parents? Second, how the hell could that school afford to go to
Yeah.
Hawaii? It was a little bit crazy. Like that's one of the reasons why I thought the Recess was weird. With the crossover, I mean.
Yeah.
But overall, no complaints. But for me, you see, Lilo and Stitch episodes, the crossover wasn't my like. It's one of my favorites, but my favorite one. Uh, oh man, there's so many, but my favorite one, I think I will choose out of all of them because like every single episode is another experiment. But I would say my favorite out of all of the Lilo and Stitch episodes it has to be. Oh man, I kind of keep forgetting now. Uh, Shit, what was it? Oh my god, now I forgot. But so you know what? I'm just gonna name them, so I think it will be a lot more easier that way. But basically, because there are quite a few great like episodes in Lilo and Stitch, like for example, the Angel episode.
Hmm.
That was a great, like that was a great episode. You know, and it was kind of cute that you know Stitch actually finally got a girlfriend. You know, and who would have thunk it that you know it was actually one of the experiments to be his girlfriend. So that one actually is it's a great episode, at least for me. But also one of the other episodes I really loved was the experiment who was the nosy one.
Nosy one.
Yeah, nosy the spy
Oh,
experiment
okay. Yes.
with a
Yeah.
big nose, and he was voiced by the same guy who voiced Pain in Hercules.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same guy. The
Huh.
experiment nosy was voiced by the guy who voiced Pain in Hercules, and also how much do you remember Police Academy?
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
You never seen any of the movies?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, because if you've seen the Police Academy, then I think you kind of get the idea who this guy is. You know, because he's also an actor. But just like other actors, like you know Alfred Molina, Jason Isaacs, and the others, like he also created a career in voice acting. You know, and his voice is perfect for that. You know, so Nose is definitely one of my favorites. The Spiky experiment, who makes people dumb, that also is one of my favorites. Uh, but oh, now I remember what's my favorite. Some people say like really that one, but my favorite one is the when Lilo and Stitch basically unlocked an experiment that was actually Jumba's personal chef,
Mm.
which eventually in the end he basically started to fatten him up because and then then this experiment wanted to eat him. That was a funny episode. That was kind of fun cute because like Nani was trying to make Lilo and others like eat more, you know, healthy food
Hmm.
because they were eating fast food and junk and everything. So they wanted to she wanted them to eat healthy. So that episode was great. And now with that talking, now I remember what was my favorite episode of them all. The one where Pleakley was getting married,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where his parents, where her like his mother the sister, and I think his cousin was like they came to Earth because like when he told them that he's gonna get married. First was Nani, then it was Jumba, or should I say Jumbina? And the whole thing is the main experiment was the lie detector experiment. Do you remember this episode?
Vaguely, yes.
But it's such a great episode, such a great episode. And also, I love that Plickly's actual name is Wendy. No, I'm not kidding. His name is Wendy. Like Nani and Lilo were trying to laugh, but in Plickly's kind, Wendy actually means like a great name, like a brave, courageous warrior or something. And I'm like in my head, I'm like, really? Of all the names the writers have chosen, they chose Wendy. I mean, if they gave him Leslie, I'd be like, okay, I get it. But Wendy, seriously, seriously, why didn't they give him the name of Carmen Miranda? I mean, seriously, But anyway, I would say that is like my number one favorite episode. Now I finally digged up my favorite episode. So, which kind of also brings me to this. I'm just gonna shortly go into this subject, but uh, of all the experiments that you remember, which can you name your top three favorite experiments outside Stitch,
Ruben, Angel,
and the third?
Leroy.
Okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. Uh, my favorite top three experiments. One is definitely Angel. I really liked her. I liked her as a character and as an experiment. And I've always thought her powers are really cool. Like with music turning other people evil. That was cool. Uh, you see, in my top three, Ruben is not in any of the places. I mean, don't be wrong. I liked him as a character, but in the series, for the most part, for me at least, he was annoying. For the most part, not all the time. For the most part. So Angel, then Nosy. Nosy is one of my favorites, and number three, my third favorite experiment was again he appeared very briefly, but he was like this very butlery penguin like experiment. That basically his special power is to make people behave. It was like a very short episode where basically what was it called, the old lady that sold vegetables and fruits
Oh,
that that is short sighted,
I'm blanking on her name.
Nakamura or something.
Um, yeah, let's go with
uh,
that.
I think it was like Miss Nakamura or something. Like I don't remember her name,
Oh,
but basically
it was Mephisto, right?
now she's no she's too nah, she's not worthy of that name. Now she's not worthy of that. But basically, it was an episode where basically Lilo and Stitch were trying to help her, not simply in the store, but also like in her general life as well. Like basically organizing her store, or should I say stand. Helping her like make a garden, her garden to look way more beautiful. And then later on, they realize that the kittens that she collected over the period of time after the experiments were unleashed were actually experiments. Like, oh my god, you should see her house. Like, she is filled with crazy experiments. And one of those experiments is a butler penguin-like experiment, and he literally has butler-like personality. Like, please come in. May I take your coat, madam? Like he literally talks like a butler. And the power is behave. Like for example, if you and I were like arguing,
Hmm.
this butler experiment were like and then basically he will unleash this power, in which basically I will say, TK, I behaved so rudely. Please accept my apology. And then you will say something apologetic, but like as a gentleman. So those are kind of like my top three experiments. Because like in the movie, because in the movie in the series, like oh my god, there were so many experiments. Actually, which experiment for me? I don't know if you remember it, but the only experiment I never liked, I thought it was kind of like meh, was the dog experiment that Myrtle had.
Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, like even Jumba said, like, oh, he's just a dog. Like he does simple like general like dog things and everything. I'm like fetching and jumping and barking. I'm like, okay, that's dumb. Like, why would you create an experiment like that? But I guess even evil geniuses can have their off days. But overall, like that's the only experiment for me that I always kind of thought it was kind of like, ah, not that much. Do you have an experiment that you always kind of thought it was either one of the worst ones?
Not really. I mean, I kind of liked them. I kind of liked them all.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I do agree. Each and every experiment was unique, and I
Yeah,
do have to say, with so many of them, I do have to say I congratulate the writers and the creators to basically expand their imagination so
yeah,
widely. I do have to congratulate them on that because they
yeah,
did a
yeah,
really phenomenal job.
yeah. They did really well with that, and none of them really. I mean, like none of them really felt like bad to me. None of them really felt like. I mean, I think I'd probably agree with you with the dog one. I mean, that's the only one that I can think of that really felt like, eh. I mean, it was funny. It wasn't a bad experiment. It just kind of wasn't like the best.
No, I mean I'm not saying that character was like one of the worst ones I've ever seen. I'm just criticizing it as an experiment. That
Yeah.
I was like, meh. It's like one of the worst ones that Jumba created. Also, one of the other experiments I cannot forget. I don't know if you remember this episode, but there was another experiment that also talked, just like Ruby and Nosy and Stitch. There was another experiment that actually was kind of like a roaster, like comedian.
Okay.
I don't. I kind of keep forgetting who voiced him, but I know he was a comedian. But which in which basically he will tell jokes, but like offending people. Like if it's like or your like your butt is big like the Grand Canyon, or saying like your ears are so big that the other elephants will follow you home. Kind of like things like that.
Yeah.
Which even when I said it, it sounds funny. Those classic, your mother is so fat,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like like for example, your mother is so fat that her blood type is rock and roll.
Yeah.
Mm. Like basically this experiment will tell those kind of jokes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and also there's another episode I keep forgetting. It's basically the main experiment in that was Finder, who basically finds lost things,
Yes.
or whatever whatever they tell him to find. Also I would say it's one of the most cutest experiments I've seen. But my favorite part of that episode is basically how Myrtle captured Hamsterville and she kept him like her pet. That was hilarious. Hilarious. Like for example, my favorite part was like when Myrtle and Hamsterville were talking,
Hmm.
and Hamster when basically she's telling him about her friends and everything, and Hamster is like, "Ha! That is your first mistake. It doesn't matter if they love you; they only need to fear you." And she's like, "Huh? I never thought of it that way." Look, wait, you would listen to a fucking evil genius like Hamster? You're like, wow. Or even when she was excited when Hamsterville said like whether she will do a far more better job than Gentoo, and he's like, maybe after you finish your education, you can come and work for me. Okay. Wow. Okay, he will give job offers to anyone in this case. I mean, I want to ask you, what did you ever follow the character of Hamsterville?
I liked him. I liked Hamsterville. He was a good villain. I liked him.
I mean, to be fair, I would say this is definitely this Hamsterville for me was definitely one of the best voice performances from Jeff Bennett. 100%.
Yeah,
He did such a phenomenal job, but and Hamsterville was a well created character, but for the most part, for me, he was so annoying. He was so annoying, like especially the way how he gave this mental abuse kind of relationship with Gantu. I mean, like I'm like, come on. I mean, first and foremost, first and foremost, he's a fucking hamster,
yeah.
okay? Or as Myrtle will say, he's a gerbil. And Gantu is the size of like a half giant. He could easily squash Hamsterville. And I'm like, I mean, I would if I would look at Gantu, I would like Gantu should be like the gang leader, not Hamsterville. And I'm like, is Gantu's willpower so weak that he will let someone as small as Hamsterville to basically control him? I mean, do you sometimes wonder those kind of questions, especially with Gantu and Hamsterville?
I didn't think about that, but that's a good question now that you say that.
Yeah, because like seriously, like I sometimes wonder, like, is his will so is his like free will like or should just simply say his will, basically his spirit, his mentality, like is like basically his own persona so weak that he will let someone like Hamsterville abuse him? Like, it's sometimes very questionable. Like, I mean, a guy as big as him. I mean, yeah, sometimes I have questions like that. Because if I was like his conscience, if I was like Jiminy Cricket and basically being alongside Gantu, I would literally tell him like, seriously, man, are you gonna let this little gerbil push you over, like push you around? I'm like, guy, hey, Gantu, you can crush him with no problem. I'm just saying, But anyway, and also I will say this, besides the experiments, like Lilo and Stitch never had any too many villains. They were basically always
Yeah,
like Gantu. Like there was always like Gantu, Hamsterville, and I would say Leroy,
yeah.
basically. But sometimes I would have preferred if they actually added more villains, like
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
villains.
That's a good point. I never thought about that, but that's a good point. Because
Yeah,
all you really had was Gantu and Hamsterville. Um,
exactly.
I never thought about that, but that is a good point.
And that's kind of something that I always kind of wondered. Like at least like Lilo and Stitch the series, they should have had like more villains, basically. Which also kind of brings me to this, because there's another TV show. I don't know if you ever watched it, but there's another TV show that is just simply called Stitch, and it's basically like an anime like TV show. Have you ever watched it?
Now, see, that one I've never watched.
So basically, and again, crazy enough, it's still connected to the Lilo and Stitch franchise, like the main timeline of like Stitch the series, like Lilo and Stitch the series, the movies, like it's still connected. But the question I always had, is it like is the story going like after Lilo and Stitch, or is somewhere like in the middle of like Lilo and Stitch the series? Because the thing is, in the story wise, but if you haven't watched it, so I'm gonna put some heavy spoilers here. So I don't know if you want to hear them or not.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so basically, the story starts with like Stitch doing like some crazy shenanigans around the galaxy, because Lilo, I think like she went to college or something. I think it was like college. She went to college or something. So basically, they went their separate ways, and he goes to some crazy shenanigans, and then basically I think like a black hole or uh, like a supernova or something, like basically pushed Jumba's ship and Stitch, like away, in which like basically just like in the first movie, Stitch with his ship, he landed on an island, but instead of being Hawaii, he landed on an island that is in Japan. I'm not kidding you. It's basically we're going back to the roots of the first movie. So it lands on Japan, on an island on Japan, and and also Jamba is like stuck somewhere on an asteroid or something. And later on, him and Pleakley, they join on this island. But basically, he meets another girl. He meets another girl, and I don't remember her name. And basically, the entire story. And again, you have Gantu, you have Hamsterville, you know, with some other like new, very anime like characters who appear in the show. But basically, the entire plot of the show is basically Stitch trying to make good deeds, and he has this kind of like bracelet that basically shows him how many deeds did he do. So again, he's still this show. I will say this: I still find it a little bit creative what they're trying to do with this like Stitch character, but he has so many similarities to like the original movie and basically everything that was going on in Lilo and Stitch the series. But I will say this: there is a scene, there is an episode where basically Stitch meets Lilo
Hmm.
after such a long time, and she's an adult, by the way. Now, when I say an adult, I mean like I think like she's like in her early 20s or something. So a lot of years have passed. But I still love that episode because there was like some so almost like an emotional reunion between them, you know. But still like but still in a crate. And I think like Lilo has a daughter.
Yes, okay. I remember reading something about that episode.
Yeah. So in that episode, if I remember correctly, she had a daughter, and she looked exactly like Lilo, exactly. And basically, the entire episode was like Stitch and her trying to like let's just say bury the hatchet because like they went their separate ways and everything. So it was an interesting episode, but at the same time a little bit emotional, especially towards the end. You know, but basically Lilo goes like on her own journey, and Stitch is basically stuck with like Japanese girl, basically. So overall it has the same like elements of like Lilo and Stitch, like typical storylines, but at the same time there's so many like new elements. And I will say this: in the English dub, the guy who does Stitch's voice, he does a pretty spot on Chris Sanders' impression. I will give him credit for that. So if you're ever interested, you could give it the show a watch because
Yeah,
again,
I might have to do that.
yeah, because like and by the way, the biggest chance you have is you will find Stitch in the dubbed version
Yeah.
because like the Japanese English subtitles version, it's very difficult to find. But I will say this: I still find it creative with very traditional Lilo and Stitch elements, but overall, it's an okay show. So if you ever had a chance, go and see a few episodes. And also, a lot of the experiments, not all of them, but some of the experiments actually also appear in the Stitch TV show. Mhm. And with that being said, we come to this. Oh, I know you've been waiting for this. First and foremost, let's congratulate this movie to reach $1 billion. Well done. I mean, to be honest, I had no doubts. I
Yeah.
had no doubts that it's gonna reach a 1 billion. Because even still today, the Lilo and Stitch franchise is like one of the most powerful, well-known franchises that came out of Disney.
Okay. Can I just say so? I know you're going to ask me this question, so I'm gonna get a jump on you asking me this question. Um, can I just say who my most hated character in that movie is, and who I think is? I loved him in the original. I loved him in the TV show. I hate him in this movie. I wish that a shark would come and eat him in the movie. David.
Oh, the boyfriend, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
I liked him in the animated. I liked him in the TV show. In this movie, he was just too annoying, too uncool, too stupid. I don't know what it was, but he just annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah,
Uh,
I will. I don't blame you because even for me, he was a bit annoying. Like even way too dumb for my taste.
and the other thing too was in the original movie and the TV show, there was kind of like an implied like he likes her, she likes him thing. In the movie, in the live action movie, it almost seemed like it was one way. It almost didn't seem like Nani returned his feelings. And maybe she didn't in the movie. I don't know, but it almost seemed like a one way street in the movie, which also kind of annoyed me because he was always like her romantic love interest in the TV show, and in the other stuff, it was kind of like mutual. They kind of like both liked each other. In this one, it kind of felt like, wait a minute, he likes her, but she's not really like doing anything in return. So why is he even in it?
Yeah, I mean, like also, especially towards the end, now her and David being in a relationship, it's never gonna happen because
Yeah,
like the old lady adopted Lilo, and with and Nani is like together. So
yeah,
that relationship thing will never happen now because it
yeah,
will be way too weird.
yeah. Or if it does
Uh,
happen, it's going to be completely changed.
Absolutely, I think it's gonna be more like a brother and sister relationship.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But one of the things I will say about the Lilo and Stitch live action version is that just like the Lilo and Stitch the series, they explored way more of like Hawaii
yes,
than, for example, the anime version had.
yes, they did.
Like
Yeah,
because the way how they explore Hawaii, I told you, it really reminded me of Lilo and Stitch the series because
yep,
that show throughout all the episodes we have seen so many layers of like Lilo's home
yeah.
that like when I was watching this live action version, it kind of reminded me of that. I mean,
Now,
what do you think?
yeah, I would agree with that. Um, One difference though I found was that it wasn't as Elvis heavy as the other Lilo and Stitch stuff.
Yes.
I don't know if I think that could be a combo of the two. That could be licensing from Elvis Presley's estate because I know there's been a lot
Mm,
of things going on with Elvis Presley's estate recently. There was like the people who were trying to sell it, and
yeah.
like it was a complete scam, which I still don't really understand that story. Um, if anybody
Mm.
out there understands that story and can explain it to me, please comment. But
Same with me.
because that made absolutely no sense to me. But so it might have been some kind of licensing thing. Um, the other thing is having a little girl, a little how old is Leela? Like 8 or 9 or 7 or something.
I think she's like 7 or 8.
Okay, I'll go with 8. Um, Having a little 8-year-old girl in 2025 be that obsessed with Elvis, I mean, it wouldn't be impossible, but it would seem kind of weird in the same way, at least in the same way that she was in the original. So it might have been that. It might have been it wouldn't have worked. It might not have worked in 2025 like it did back in 2002. Um,
I don't
but
think I don't think it would be that weird. I mean, like because I always kind of thought of her as being a super fan of
but
Elvis.
but the licensing, I tend to think it's more that than
Yeah,
anything.
I
Um,
think I agree. I think the biggest possibility is that
yeah.
maybe was the licensing problem.
But I'll be honest, it didn't really bother me. The one thing that bothered me is that they had like a Stitch figure at Target, and like the Stitch figure is like dressed as Elvis. So like they still use like the whole Stitch Elvis motif to promote the movie, which I think is a little bit weird considering it isn't as heavy in the movie. Um, but that being said, it doesn't really change the movie overall for me. Like it
No,
doesn't really take
absolutely
away
not.
from the movie. Um, so I mean that's a I think that's a positive. Um, and I mean the other thing about the live action movie was I thought that the for the most part the characters actually were on par with the original if not somewhat better.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, for example, to kind of connect to what you just said. For example, I actually really liked that they kept Cobra Bubbles as
Yeah,
like a CIA agent instead of like being a former CIA agent and also at the same time a social
social work.
worker.
Yeah,
Yeah, because let's be honest, a guy like him with sunglasses and a suit. I'm sorry,
yeah,
you are raising all sorts of red flags with him with this guy being like a social worker.
yeah,
Especially when he said, especially because in that particular, going back to the original anime movie, I love the way how Lilo was proving him that how smart she is because like when basically she was watching him and she's like, you don't look like a social worker, and Cobra's like, I'm a special classification, and she's like, did you ever kill anyone? Like, and he's like, we're getting off the subject. Like, 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 because that's literally how Cobra Bubbles felt when you
yeah,
see him. But in this version, I'm really happy that they gave the role of a social worker to someone else, and to be like an actual original character, and Cobra Bubbles being in the CIA and everything. Like that for me personally, I think was an improvement, at
yeah,
least for me.
yeah,
But I will say this: it was such a nice touch to have the original voice actress of Nani
yeah,
being the social worker. I thought that was a really nice addition.
yeah,
And by the way, I just want to say this. By the way, I just want to say this that the very first time I was introduced to this actress was actually through a TV show called Relic Hunters, which is basically, if anyone doesn't know, it's basically a mixture of Tomb Raider, Uncharted, and a little bit of Indiana Jones as well. You know, for me personally, it was a cool show. But that's basically where I was introduced to her character. So I was really surprised that first and foremost that she's a singer, and also that she was the voice of Nani. But going back to Lilo and Stitch, I really liked her addition to this. I really like that.
yeah. I agree. That was cool. It made sense having her be like what her character feared the most in the original. So I mean, it was cool. Um, it was also interesting in this movie. There'd been, I mean, there were rumors like leading up to the movie, but like I don't know if anybody actually believed the rumors about them cutting Gantu. Um,
Yeah,
honestly, before I saw the movie, I thought that was I thought if they cut Gantu, it would have been a huge mistake. Um, pun intended because he's huge. Um, that being said, it actually worked them cutting him. I didn't really miss him. It, it worked having Jumba take over the main villain spot. Um, I did not think that was going to work, but it worked.
I will say this. I will add this as well. First and foremost, the director did actually talked a few times and saying that they were actually planning to bring in Captain Gantu into the story, but with everything that was kind of like planned and all the characters that were basically essential to this movie. Uh, I can agree with with the director saying that we have to, with all the things that we had, we had to sacrifice a few things to kind of make the story flow a little,
Yeah,
the flow of the story to basically go a little more easier. And honestly, after hearing his point of view, because of course at first I was kind of sad that that Gantu was cut off. But honestly, after seeing the live action movie, I kind of understand why they cut him off, because not only it wouldn't fit, but also at the same time it would be too much,
yeah,
honestly. And I would have, I was actually way more happier that they kept Jumba as the main villain rather than actually at first like him being the bad guy, and then later on kind of like we kind of take where basically the mantle of the main villain was taken by Gantu. Like
yeah.
I like that they kind of kept it a little bit more simple and gave the role to Jumba, because he actually deserved it. But I will say this, because that's the question I want to ask you. How was your feeling hearing someone else as the voice of Jumba?
Honestly, I mean, I'm not going to knock Zach Galifianakis too much because he's a good actor. I think he was probably a good choice. My only issue is I think he needed an accent. Um,
Mm,
I don't think having him speak with a straight American accent was a good idea. Um,
no, I agree as well.
I mean, it was. I mean, it wasn't a deal breaker. It didn't like ruin it for me, but like it would have been. It could have been better if he'd had an accent. Um, it took whenever I saw it the first time. It took me a little bit of time to get used to him without an accent. Um, One of my biggest things I wish, and I think I read somewhere this was a budget thing, and I hope. I mean, of course, I don't know what they do with the sequel, but I if they could go back and redo anything in this movie, I wish they had not had Jumba and Pleakley as humans, like disguised as humans. I wish they'd popped that extra money and had them like wearing like the fake mustache and the hat and stuff in their alien forms. I wish they'd done that because that was always funny.
Well, hear me out on this one. Okay, I respect your opinion, and I can see your point of view, but honestly, them being human actually works way more better than having them just simply wear wigs and fake mustaches and clothes and everything. Because here's the thing. Now, try to follow me up. Try to follow me on this one. Uh, there are things that work for animation, but at the same time, there are things that are in animation that actually won't work in live action. Like there are things that for live action, they won't make any sense. Like in this case, Jump and Plickly, like being in disguises. Like I said, the wigs, the fake mustaches, the lipstick on Plickly trying to be a woman, and things like that. Honestly, in live action, it wouldn't work because, again, being a cartoon aside, I mean, anyone from a mile away could have seen that those two were aliens.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's a good point.
so, and of course, if they done that in live action, first and foremost, a lot of people, and for good reason, they will think that that was dumb because because I can already see some people commenting like oh my god, like how cannot anyone see that those two are weird, that those two are aliens, because like you can see them coming from a mile away, you know so that kind of thing works on cartoons, but in live action it wouldn't work. So adding this technology that they can actually transform themselves by copying other people's forms and use them as disguise, for me personally, was actually a smart idea. And I know there's going to be some people complaining, it was because of the budget. Maybe it was. No, maybe it was. But for me personally, that was actually a smart tactic. They actually, or should I say, a smart strategy. What they did,
Oh,
because that way,
the other
because
thing,
that. Oh, go ahead.
the other thing I just thought about too with that was was if you did that, it would make Jump. It might make Jumbo too comedic to then have him take the villain.
Yeah, I mean, also look, we the first and foremost, the guy who played Pleakley, he was great.
Yeah, he nailed that role.
Oh, absolutely. Although I never remembered seeing him that buffed up. The
No,
the actor, I mean, because I
yeah,
always kind of remember him being very skinny.
yeah.
I mean, I'm really kind of curious where did he get because some people think because some people actually were looking at him and they were thinking like, oh my god, like is he gaining weight or something? Actually, no. It's actually those are actually muscles. So I'm kind of curious, like, what kind of movies is he preparing for? But anyway, again, as Cobra Bubbles will say, we're getting off the subject. Uh, I respect Zach as an actor and comedian. I respect him. He will always be the hangover guy. But I always kind of found weird that they chose him as Jumba because,
Yeah.
hear me out, he could have been a good Jumba. And I do agree with you. They should have given him an accent. When I saw his interview, why didn't he get an accent? And even though Zach said that maybe that at first he tried to have one, but he said that his accent sounded like Russian, and the whole Russian Ukraine thing. Like He was afraid to do that, to do this accent. But then again, I'm like, dude, the guy is an alien,
Yeah.
and you think like every single alien will talk like 100% straight up English, like none of them will have accents. I mean, look at the like Star Wars alien creatures. Like for example, the Twi'leks, they have a French accent when they talk. As like part of their culture, as part of their kind. I'm just gonna give you some examples. I haven't seen like some aliens again in Star Wars. I've seen other aliens who like talk like Italians, and it's like part of their culture, their race. So why not do the same thing with Jumba? Like give him like a Russian accent, but doesn't have to be Russian. It could be part of his alien culture.
Hmm.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they should have given an accent. I mean, look, it doesn't have to be even Russian. I mean, if you want, you could do even a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
You know, as a just an idea. But overall, like again, it was very difficult. I mean, I know the guy, unfortunately, who voiced Jumba passed away many years ago. But it's difficult not to hear Jumba without remembering the original voice
Yeah.
actor. But I still gave Zach a shot, and he was fine. He was
Yeah.
fine. But for me personally, I wasn't hearing Jumba. I was hearing Zach.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't bad. I mean, it works, but it would have been a lot better with an accent.
Mm,
I mean, I agree with you. I thought he was, of the casting choices for me, I think he was the weirdest. He's the one that didn't make the most sense to me. Um,
yeah,
Now it was a really cool touch that they had Chris Sanders back as Stitch. I mean,
exactly.
now I'll be honest. I think that's the only possible way that could have worked. Um,
I mean, honestly, if they didn't get Chris Sanders, for example, they could have easily gotten the guy who voiced him in the Stitch anime TV show, because
yeah,
the
that's
guy who did the English dub, I told you, like he did actually a marvelous impression of Chris Sanders. But still, having the original voice of
yeah.
Stitch was like a big what's the word I was looking for? Like
Gabrielle?
it was like the biggest to do thing on the list. You
One interesting thing about the movie was because Chris Sanders, I guess he was working on the Wild Robot at the time that the movie was
hmm
being filmed. He was never on set during production, so
yes,
the little girl playing Lilo, like she didn't have him to really bounce lines off of or anything. So she was doing that like with I'm guessing another cast member or something, or like an extra. But I mean, the fact that she was able to do that and have like it all blends so well together. I mean, she's going to be one to watch as she grows up.
I will say this. Also, Chris Sanders, like the guy, I think the guy is he like in his 60s now?
I think so. Yeah, I think either late 50s or early 60s. I think. Yeah.
I think it's more like early 60s. But still, after so many years, the guy still got it.
Yeah.
Voicing Stitch, some people like sometimes when I heard him, it's like going back in the past,
Yeah.
going back in time and hearing him for the first time. Like he was like the laughter, the screams, the
Yeah.
talk. Like he
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
good as Stitch. But also, I do have to give big applauses to the little girl who played Lilo.
Yeah.
She was spot on Lilo,
Yeah.
from her behavior, personality, the face expressions, like the looks.
Yeah.
She was like Lilo that came to life.
Yeah. I
And
like. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
every scene that she was in, she stole it
Yeah.
when Stitch wasn't around.
Yeah. And Nani too. Nani was honestly, she was. I thought she was a little bit different in this movie, but I liked her. I thought she was a lot more fleshed out, and I like the dynamic between her and Lilo better in this movie too, a little bit. But
Oh,
that also is kind of where I think a lot of people gave the movie flack for sort of messing with the idea of Ohana by separating Lilo and Nani at the end. Um, you know, for me personally, I'm I can see what the critics were saying, but I can see what people were saying when they said that. I do, and I respect it, but I would disagree with it because I feel like they take the idea of Ohana, but they kind of also kind of change it a little bit too. Um, and I like it.
Oh, okay, okay. In Lilo, in Nani and Lilo in live action's defense, okay, fact, they did the same thing in Lilo and Stitch the series. The same thing. How many times when Lilo was asking Nani for help and she would say, I'm sorry, Lilo, I can't. I have to help at the store. I'm sorry,
Mhm,
Lilo. I'm going with
mhm,
David on a date. I'm sorry,
mhm,
Lilo. I have to go on a job interview. I'm sorry,
mhm,
this and that.
mhm,
They did the same shit in Lilo and Stitch the series, and you're telling me
mhm.
that you're angry because of what they did in the live action? I mean,
Yeah,
come on. Come on. Give me a break. I mean, like, first and foremost, Nani is going on into college to
yeah,
also at the same time give Lilo a better life.
yeah,
I mean, and also, by the way, they're still together because of that portal.
yeah,
So I'm sorry, like you can bullshit about this all you want, but again, those kind of those that particular element, it happened in animation as well.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but there I said it.
Yeah, and I wasn't bothered by it because I mean, like, yes, it changes the idea of Ohana a little bit. Nobody gets left behind, but it also kind of like I read a comment somewhere about it that said, but it also shifts the idea of Ohana, a family, to like making sacrifices for them and letting them live their dreams.
I mean, I'm
Which
sorry, but sometimes that's what a family does.
yeah,
We do make sacrifices
yeah,
for someone else's well-being. You know,
yeah,
like if it's giving them like from financial gains to like a better life. Like sometimes families do like they do sacrifices.
yeah, and also
And again, it's an
having her neighbors, Lilo's neighbors, kind of like adopt her. That was also kind of like that was also a good commentary on family too. I mean, really, if anything, they kind of they took the idea of Ohana, they kind of played with it a little bit, and they expanded it. I mean, honestly, I don't. All the people complaining about it, I don't agree with. And also made me think the girl, the woman who plays the neighbor who like winds up adopting Lilo. That was also the voice of the little far nearsighted woman in Lilo and Stitch the series.
I knew her voice was familiar. So that was the old lady
Yeah,
who had that vegetable and fruit stand.
yeah.
Oh my god,
Oh, and David, the original voice of David played Nani's boss too.
that was the original David.
Yeah,
Oh, and here I thought that only Nani's voice actress was like just an ad to like from the original to the new one. Oh my god! Now I have to rewatch the movie again, like to capture David, the original David, and Mrs. Nakamura. I mean, like, oh man, that for me personally, the live action experience made it even better.
yeah,
But
yeah,
also can I
yeah,
just and also when it comes to the soundtrack, can I just say that it was really great to have the original singer back, and
yeah,
also the same children's like choir they
yeah,
used for the original, but just like a different generation.
yes. And then also having Ian Tongi do
Mm-hmm.
Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride. First of all, he is probably one of the better singers to come out of American Idol since it rebooted.
Yep.
But he was a good choice for that. I think they updated it well. Also, having Burning Love, having Bruno Mars's nephews sing it. Um, watch out for them because I think they are going to be good artists in their own right someday.
Mm-hmm.
And having it play over the end credits, I mean, perfect. There, there's not a lot in the live action Lilo and Stitch. I'm surprised I'm saying this. I don't want to say this because I don't want to encourage Disney or DreamWorks in any way to continue doing live action movies like this. Um, we need more creativity. But that being said, Lilo and Stitch live action was actually really good. Um, and I heard that a sequel's been greenlit. And
Yep.
honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm kind of excited to see what they do with the sequel.
Well, the director actually said that if they greenlight Lilo and Stitch 2, he actually plans, and I'm not kidding you, he actually plans not just simply to bring Gantu, but also Hamsterville.
Oh, see, now I'm really curious to see how that. Yeah, see that will be exciting.
He's planning to bring Hamsterville, and he's also planning to introduce Lil like Stitch's cousins as well.
So the question is will bringing in Hamsterville and Gantu, will he then redeem Jumba?
Um, Honestly, in the sequel, I think that's the biggest possibility.
I mean, I feel like they almost have to, at least to some degree, but I don't know.
I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see. But for me personally, if I have to bet on it, I would say Jumba will have his redemption arc in the sequel. I think it will, and I can even see the Grand Councilwoman ask like Jumba for help again, because I definitely think that the director is gonna keep that idea that Hamsterville and him were partners.
Yeah,
So I can definitely see Jumba also helping against Hamsterville again. You know, but I will say this: I don't think they're gonna get Jeff Bennett voicing Hamsterville. So I'm kind of curious who might also voice Hamsterville. And also, can I just say one more thing?
hmm
If they get Hamsterville, please, please don't make him so annoying.
yeah. I
I,
think with Gantu, I think they have to do Kevin Michael Richardson.
oh, absolutely,
I
because
think,
even
yeah,
I think even the director mentioned it one time that I'm not sure about that, but I think the director did mention one time that uh, Kevin Michael Richardson as Gantu is irreplaceable.
yeah. There's no way they could. There's no other. The only other person I could conceivably see work is Gantu, and you'd have to play him more. You'd have to play him more like of a strategic person. If you did it, the only other person I could see working as Gantu is Sam Jackson.
Can I add one more?
hmm
But this version will be like a lot more serious. Idris Elba.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. You could do him as Gantu.
Yeah, but he'll be like more serious, more like strategic, more stoic. Like
Yeah,
he will actually play like a more like a military
yeah,
type of like character. And also you can even add in this story like that he's basically a rogue captain who used to work for the Galactic Alliance and now he works for Hamsterville.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I really hope that they go with him in the sequel, and same with Hamsterville. I mean, they would be. I'd love to see them both in live action.
I just hope that Hamsterville this time. I just hope that he's more like more diabolical,
Yeah,
more like evil. That he's more like that he's actually represents like an actual villainous presence.
yeah,
That I just hope that that he's not so annoying and like always like screaming and insulting and like I mean you can still have that, but I hope that his character will be a little bit balanced. Like basically I hope they're gonna add something new
yeah,
to his character. Make him like an overall 100%, villain.
yeah,
Basically, not just simply don't. I just hope they don't treat him as a joke.
yeah,
Basically, but I will say this, and I guess you noticed it, but it was really great when we had that Easter egg of like
yeah,
experiments.
yes.
Like we I think I've seen the electric one,
hmm
like Sparky. I've seen him. I've seen Angel, and I think I've seen Leroy.
Yeah.
Or was it 627?
Might
The evil guy.
it might have been 627.
But still, that was a nice touch,
Yeah,
which basically means that maybe with the sequel, I can definitely see why the director said he wants to bring other experiments. But if he does, I don't think he'll bring like all of them. I think this time they're gonna try to bring like a few of them. Now,
yeah.
if you could,
I'm interested. For me, I'd like to see them. The one that would make the most sense in a sequel is probably 627.
I will add even Angel.
Um, yeah, those two would probably make the most sense. Um, there's a part of me that would like them if they. one, if they could do it in a good way that wouldn't overstuff the thing, to add in Ruben.
Okay. Now, but I don't think they will.
But
Ruben,
yeah,
I don't think they will.
but I think adding Ruben in would could potentially overstuff it. So I'd agree with that. I don't think they'll add him. Um,
Also, if they add Ruben, I would love Rob Paulson to go back and voice him.
oh, I think Rob Paulson would have to. I think if they add him in, I think they'd have to get Rob Paulson for him.
That's if they do, but I don't think they will.
Yeah,
I don't think they will. I think like if they have to introduce some experiments, I think it's gonna be Sparky, Angel, or Leroy.
yeah,
Yeah, but like the experiments that are kind of like the most famous ones.
yeah.
Mm. Uh, yeah, which also, I mean, also at the same time, I'm again, we could go on and on, but one of the things is, did this movie made you emotional a few times?
Yeah,
Like, did it hit you? Not just simply as a movie, but like in nostalgia. Did it make you
yeah,
emotional with nostalgia?
yeah. Especially where Stitch dies at the end. Where Nani comes back to get him, and then where he gives the whole "This is my family" speech.
Yes,
Those
yes,
two were probably the most emotional things. Um, they were great touches. Um, I mean, the the they were great touches. They were well done. The "This is my family" speech was almost identical to the original, and it hit almost identical to the original.
yep,
Um, yeah,
yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like even for me, like the actually, I was emotional three times. One was the redo of the Hemele no Lilo song.
hmm,
You know that basically in the original basically started playing when Jumba said, "On what poor, pitiful, defenseless planet is my monstrosity being
yeah,
unleashed?" And then you hear that song. So the redo of that song, that was the first emotional time. That was the first emotional moment I had. Second one was the Hawaiian roller coaster ride,
yes,
and the third one was the whole family thing that you just mentioned. Like the family thing, that's actually where I actually started crying, and I did. I started crying because not just simply as a scene, but like nostalgia. Like oh man, like which for me personally, if you're gonna make me cry, I think that's already for me a job well done. And also, uh, we're not gonna say this movie's name, but there's a certain movie that could actually take some pointers of how to make a live action version.
oh yes, Dragon Ball Evolution.
I was going more towards Disney, but I kind of get your point as well.
Which one are you thinking was with Disney?
Okay, I'm gonna say it. Snow White,
Okay, yeah, yep,
because Snow White can take some pointers from Lilo and
yeah,
Stitch, like how you can make, how you can, like what is the right way to do a live action,
yeah.
a remake. And with that being said, the last thing I want to talk about, and this is going to be very briefly, the future of the franchise. First and foremost, I want to hear you. How would you,
Oh boy.
how could you see the future of this franchise?
I don't know. That's a good question. Hmm. Honestly, I don't know. Um, I'd like to see them do. I'd like to see them do something with it beyond like another live action movie. I think. Um, I don't know what I'd do with it though, because I feel like if they did more cousins, I feel like that would just be rehashing. I think they would need to do something different. I
Yeah.
just don't know. I just don't know what.
Well, well, for me personally, at least the way how I see it, because we all know that the Lilo and Stitch franchise officially ended with Leroy and Stitch, basically. So this is basically an overall revive of uh, of the Lilo and Stitch franchise. So the way how I see it, honestly, so far right now, I can see this franchise being basically done as a movie trilogy. Because like when it comes to like different spin-offs or TV shows, I don't actually see. I don't think those kind of things will not happen again.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with them is how do you do them and have them feel fresh? I
Exactly.
mean,
So
yeah, I can't think of any way you could do them.
so far, at least for me, I think so. The best way now would be to basically concentrate on it as a movie trilogy,
Yeah,
because like I said, when you have an anime movie that is very successful, then you have a vast creative range
yeah,
when it comes to like spin-offs and TV specials and TV shows and so on and so forth. With animation, it's a little bit easier, but with live action, it's a bit tricky.
yeah,
Not to mention also budget wise. So I would say the future of this franchise right now, I can only see it in movies.
yeah,
And if they have to do it, I think they should stick like to Lilo Stitch like a movie trilogy, and that's it.
yeah,
Like I mean, sure, we're gonna see Lilo and Stitch like in many other different things. Like for
yeah.
example, there's this like speed like racing video game where basically Stitch and Lilo are part of it. We're gonna see them in things like that. But on the screen, so far, I think the future will only be in movies
I'm
because I
glad you
don't.
said I'm glad you said trilogy because that would be my one concern with doing with the live action movies is I don't want them to go on too long.
No, I think like three movies. I think
Yeah,
will be enough.
yeah, yeah. Because I, if it goes beyond if it goes beyond three, I think there's a chance that it could become stale, and they're just going to be like recycling and stuff. So I think
Yeah,
if they're going to do anything, they either need to do this movie in a sequel, or they need to do a trilogy. Um,
yeah, yeah. Because you see, Lilo and Stitch, the franchise, for example, they didn't went the same road as, for example, let's say The Simpsons.
yeah,
They didn't go that same road. They actually knew when to stop.
yeah,
What's going to be the overall ending. Maybe it was accidental, maybe it was like step by step idea, but overall they ended for me personally the perfect way.
yeah,
So again, with the live action remakes, I do hope they do the same thing
yeah,
with this one.
yeah.
But so far,
That would be the only that'd be the only thing I'd be worried about with them doing a sequel to Lilo and Stitch is that they don't have a clear plan, like they don't have so that would be the only thing I hope that if they're doing this sequel that they spend time on doing is figure out like if we make this sequel, if it makes money and we do a third one, how do we wrap it up? Like what's our end game? What's our plan?
I mean, personally for me, I mean, look, they can still keep the Doctor Hamsterville as the overall main villain. But I'm just hoping that if they're gonna do a trilogy, I'm just hoping that the third movie is not gonna be. I'm just hoping that the second movie and the third one are not just simply like 100% copies of like Lilo and Stitch 2 and Leroy and
Yeah.
Stitch.
Yeah.
Like I'm hoping they're not the exact same copies. I'm hoping they're gonna add something new to those movies. Like for example, the director who did the How to Train Your Dragon anime trilogy,
Mhm.
he did actually said that the How to Train Your Dragon 2 live action, they will actually go a little bit more on a different path, unlike the anime movie had. Which
Yeah.
for me personally, it's perfectly fine because when you're doing a live action remake, sometimes you have to make some big differences.
Yeah.
So I hope the Lilo and Stitch can do the same thing, like some differences basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so far we can both agree that the future is a little bit foggy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think there's definitely a future there because I think Stitches. I mean, you can't underestimate how cute Stitch is and how much that appeals to people.
true.
So I think he definitely has a future. But I agree with you. I think it's probably movies, probably live action movies. I
Hmm.
I don't think they'd be smart to try to revive the series. I mean, as much as I'd like to see, as much as I think they like to revive things nowadays, that's when they shouldn't touch.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree on that. So far, the only thing I can say is let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, let's just see what happens and just simply hope for the best. Mm. And with that being said, we have come to an end to another Shadow Council episode, episode 34, Lilo and Stitch. TK, we did it. We did it. We
Yes.
had some like little like we had some like little like Wi-Fi glitches at the beginning, but we did it all the way towards the end. Yes, another successful Shadow Council episode finished. You guys know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe. Give us all personal thoughts and ideas. Like, what did you thought of if you have seen the Lilo and Stitch live action movie? What did you thought about Lilo and Stitch, the franchise in general, the first movie, the series, everything about Lilo and Stitch franchise? Just put in the comment section down below. Also, at the
Vote on
same
your
time,
favorite host.
just please do TK a favor and just simply vote for him. Like, I think it will make him tremendously happy, and also at the same time, it will keep his mouth shut.
Yes. And
Uh,
subscribe to this man's channel over here, Lord of Shadows.
as always. And also, if you're interested to see previous Shadow Council episodes, the link is gonna be in the video description down below as well. And as always, stay tuned for more. Lord of Shadows signing off.
TK the Lucky Bastard out.
And or as I like to say, later, fuckers.